I look at this and I think it's
Pokemon Ranger! I choose you!
What's up, my dear boys and girls, it's Ranger Boy here, and welcome to another review of Pokemon the Anime 2019 in 2020. Last week we had a blast from the past, but in a very indirect way. But now the anime tries out some good old-fashioned in-your-face nostalgia with episode 9, The Promise We Made That Day, the Houou Legend of the Johto Region. Oh my god, is it finally that time? Will Ash not only finally see Houou again, but also interact with it like he did in the iQIYI movie? Maybe even a battle? Well, if you want to know more, if you want to know my opinion, then grab some popcorn, grab some cookies, and let's do this! We're starting today's adventure with some shocking news, which is that several people have been seeing the legendary Houou flying around Ecruteak City. Ash wants to finally settle things with Houou by challenging it to a battle, while Go wants to catch it. And with those ambitions in their hearts, we return to the Johto region. But we can't waste any time for sightseeing, because our heroes quickly find out that the Tin Tower is the place to be if you want to find Houou, and surely enough, they encounter the legendary Pokemon flying through the sky, and even attacking Ash. By the way, Go caught his first Johto Pokemon, aka Eccentric, but at this point, him catching a new Pokemon is like breathing air. But strangely enough, one Thunderbolt was enough to take it down, and soon we understand why. Because the supposed super rare and super strong Pokemon appears to be just a Fearow in disguise, using Cyndaquil for attacking. The mastermind behind that disguise is a young boy called Kurio, who not only confused everyone with his invention, but also thanks to that introduces his grandpa to us, who makes the quick remark that he should give up on Houou and that it doesn't exist. But a certain someone had something to say about that, which of course is our boy Ash, who states that he indeed did saw Houou during the start of his journey, followed up by the anime recreating the scene of the very first episode, but with the art style and animation of the Gen 8 anime, which, I will talk about later. The young man then reveals why his grandpa is so doubtful in regards of Houou's existence, and we quickly find out that in the past his grandpa did see Houou at some point as well, and since that day he chases after the Firebird. But the more time passes by, the more he lost hope to ever see Houou again, until he completely gave up on his dream. That's also why Kurio did the disguise, to cheer his grandpa up and to rekindle that hope. The natural thing for our boys to do is to find the real thing this time, and with the combination of Go's research and Ash being Ash, they decide to climb up the Tin Tower to make the legendary Pokemon appear. Although the old man doesn't really believe in the myth, they take him along with him anyway, and luckily they even have the Rainbow Wing on hand. But there are really suspicious beings lurking in the shadows. And no, it's not Team Rocket, but instead it's a wild Misdreavus and a wild Standler, who screw around with the invaders by creating illusions. How do we deal with those troublemakers? By catching two Pokemon at the same time with one go! Yay! Again, it's like breathing. I just inhaled some air and Go already has 3 new Pokemon! Yay! Anyway, they arrive at the top of the Tin Tower, and inspired by the efforts of Kurio and the boys, which kinda sounds like a band, his grandpa got inspired by their attitude, reigniting the hope of encountering Houou once again. And right after Ash, Go, and his grandchild left the scenery, his wish has been granted, and he finally sees Houou once again. But sadly too late for our boys. Ah, god damn it, we will never see Ash with Houou, won't we? But that still doesn't stop both Ash and Go to never give up, to never surrender on their dreams. Toot 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 toot. Toot toot toot. That's it for today, and without any more hesitation, let's go to my impressions. Just like last week's episode, once again we make a return to an old region, and once again the story felt more like filler. And yes, technically it isn't filler, since Go caught new Pokemon, but like I said, it's nothing really special nowadays, and I will make a separate video about that little issue. Both the story and the overall message was good, but at the same time it didn't really stood out, especially compared to past episodes. And by the way, how many people do we have now who were skeptical about Ash encountering Houou during his beginnings? But before we talk about the main issue, let's have a quick talk about the flashback. And to be honest, I like it. I really like it. In the past, I really felt somewhat awkward every time they did past scenes, but with the new art style of the current generation. It was awkward in 5th gen, and it was definitely awkward in Gen 7. Don't get me wrong, I really liked those callbacks, but I never really felt comfortable seeing them since their art style is so drastically different compared to Gen 1. But for some odd reason, I really like this one. In my opinion, it's really pleasing to the eye, which says a lot about the Gen 8 art style, and I really have to give them credit for that the current art style can seemingly adapt to every situation. But let's concentrate on my main issue. The main issue I had with this episode was that it was kinda clickbait, and therefore, at least I had some high expectations. If you read a title called The Promise We Made That Day, the Houou Legend of the Johto Region, most fans would automatically assume that for the most part it will be about Ash and him finally encountering and maybe even battling Houou, which in my opinion would be a major event for him, since it was the very first legendary that he encountered, and one of the most memorable moments for not only Ash and Pikachu, but also for us, the hardcore fans who watched the anime since day one. And in my opinion, a final face-to-face encounter and therefore a 1v1 battle could have been a great opportunity to close this chapter. I mean, sure, we have the I Choose You movie if you want to see Ash vs Houou, but obviously it's not the same, since that version is not our Ash. The movie version was a beginner, but the version we have here is a highly skilled trainer who even has a major league title in his pocket, and to see that Ash versus Houou would have been really interesting. But instead of that, we get a switcheroo situation with the whole Kurio slash grandpa story, and I don't understand why. This whole potential of Ash vs Houou, in my opinion, would have only brought positive aspects to the table. Not only that one chapter of Ash's story would have finally been closed, but also this could have been a great chance for the Gen 8 anime to leave an impact very early on, and maybe, just maybe, even bring some new eyes to the product, since many older fans grew up with the Gen 1 anime, and if they would hear things like Ash vs Houou, or maybe even Ash defeating Houou while the anime shows off its fantastic animation and soundtrack, this could have been a great chance to gain new viewers or even regain older viewers. But they didn't do that, and I don't really understand the reason why they didn't pull the trigger. I guess my expectations for this episode was a bit too high. It was a decent episode, but had way more potential. Anyway guys, I really hope you enjoyed this review. What is your opinion? And especially tell me your opinion on the whole Ash vs Houou potential. Tell me! Just like always, see you guys in the comments down below.